What's up, guys and gals? It's the Tyrant here, and welcome back to my weekly Q&A session where you guys ask the questions and I give you the answers. It's been a big week this week. I don't know if you saw my tweet from yesterday on Twitter, but I finally finished the Halo 5 Mythic difficulty walkthrough. On Thursday, I uploaded the guide for Mythic Battle of Sanayan. That was a really good run, too, and I hope you guys enjoy it. And then yesterday, I finally managed to beat the final mission of the game, Guardians, and the plan right now is to have that up on Monday. It's a very short mission, or at least the way I did it, and I hope you guys enjoy my little Frankenstein mashup between slow and steady and speed running. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Now, if you want to submit a question for the Q&A, it's pretty simple. There are three ways to do it. You can either ask it in the comment section below. You can feel free to hit me up on Twitter. Or if you are a patron donor and you have access to our premium Discord, then you can ask it on there as well. So let's go ahead and jump right into it. Our first question of the week comes from Ben Bird. And Ben asks, Q&A, should Halo 6 have a social area where you can walk around and see other players? In short, no. Not if it's going to take resources from other potential things that could be in the game. I don't want to, I don't want to see a social area, but not see other things that people, especially legacy players, would love to see in the game. So, if it didn't take anything away, I'd say fine. It's an interesting gimmick, but it's not necessary in my opinion. But you guys, let me know in the comments below what you think about a social area in Halo 6. Our next question comes from Disco Prince 906, and Disco Prince asks, Q&A, if there are other spin-off games, or as far as a reboot of the classic games, what do you think of seeing the Flood group go through some various evolutions or specializations? Well, I think I probably speak for Hidden Xperia about this, where I say, yeah, that'd be pretty cool. We saw in Halo 3 how they could transform into other forms and whatnot, and I thought that was really awesome. And I could easily see that being implemented in other Halo titles. It'd be a really cool way to flesh out that very interesting species in Halo. So absolutely, I 100% agree with that. Our next question comes from Patrick Thomas. And Patrick asks, Halo Q&A, do you think maybe in Halo 6 they will bring in Professor Anders, since I reckon she is on the Halo ring you see at the end of the legendary Halo 5 ending and legendary Halo Wars 2 ending, if they are the same ring? Yeah, I think there's a pretty high chance. They already said that Halo Wars 2 would have a direct link to Halo 6, and it looks like right now Anders might be the closest thing to it. It'd be really cool to see like her opinion versus Dr. Halsey's, and them going back and forth with each other, trying to figure the crisis out with the Guardians. So yeah, I think there's a high probability of Anders making it into Halo 6. Our next question comes from Slender Gaming. Good to see you back here, my friend. And Slender Gaming asks, Q&A, have you missed me? Nah, I'm just kidding. My real question is, if you believe that the Grave Mind will return as a key mind and have more intelligence, and do you think once it's done with Cortana, it will actually kill her? I think this would actually be a better question for Hidden Xperia. Maybe I can get him to comment in the comment section below. But my theory is that while the Flood are probably going to have a role in Halo 6, I don't know what kind of role. I don't know if they're going to be a fightable faction, or if they're just going to be in the story itself. In terms of whether or not the Grave Mind will return, I think there's a possibility of it. Do I think that the Grave Mind will kill Cortana? I don't think so. I think if there's going to be a major death in Halo 6, it's going to be the Master Chief. I know a lot of people don't want to hear that. I've got another theory video out there that talks about that a little bit more in depth, but I could see him sacrificing himself to save Cortana, maybe bringing Cortana into the real world and Master Chief becoming digitized or whatever. I think that'd be kind of interesting. I don't know where it's going to go, but I'm certainly looking forward to finding out. So great question, Slender, and good to have you back, my friend. Our next question comes from Kane Sasa. And Kane Sasa, I'm sorry. And Kane asks, Q&A, I want to know your opinion on what you believe would make Halo fun again. For me, it would be to bring back Marines in Halo 5. Bring back Marines in Halo 5. There were none, and I want to see them have a role showing huge battles, because some of my favorite things to do in old Halo was to try and keep them alive. Plus, love the vids. Thank you. Thank you very much, my friend. Yeah, I'd love to see Marines brought back. They were technically in Halo 5, but they were only in the Meridian missions, and so they were very sparse in the game. But yeah, I'd love to see Marines brought back. I always thought they had funny banter. It was cool having the extra support. And just their characters were so much fun to watch and hang out with in the game, or fight alongside with, I should say. What would make Halo more fun for me? Would be, for one, then bring back theater mode for campaign. Two, I'd like to see a permanent classic playlist in Halo 6 from the day of launch so that legacy Halo fans can continue to play their own personal style. And also, personally, I would really love to see a mythic difficulty achievement, if not an actual difficulty implemented into the game, where if you select it, it's automatically on Legendary with all skulls on. I think an achievement would actually encourage more people to play, and I might not wait 2 years to do the guide for it. So that's my personal opinion. You guys let me know in the comments below what you think you'd love to see in Halo 6 that would make it more fun. Our next question comes from Chan So, and Chan asks, Q&A, do you think Halo ODST should have been named Halo 2 ODST, not Halo 3 ODST, since it was primarily based in the events of Halo 2? No. I can see where you would get that from, though, since, yes, it was based in the same time period. However, the reason why they call it Halo 3 ODST, which I'm sure you know, is because it uses the same graphics engine, it uses the same physics engine, it uses the same basic weapons sandbox with a few alterations, it uses the same enemies. It's basically just another campaign of Halo 3, but in a different setting. So that's why they did it. However, I will say that I love Halo 3 ODST, and I think that having Halo 3 ODST sort of made up for the fact that we didn't see much in terms of a big city setting in Halo 2, or at least not a big sandbox city setting. So I hope that answers your question, Chan. So it's always good to see you here, my friend. Our next question comes from Heatmaster007, and Heatmaster asks, Q&A, do you hope they add multi-passenger flying vehicles like the Falcon or Hornet into Halo 6? Absolutely, I think that would be a great idea. Thought the Falcon was very well balanced in Halo Reach. It was a lot of fun. Had basically two functions. You could either have secondary gunners, or you could actually use it as a dropship, and for larger maps like Blood Gulch or Sidewinder, which I know Sidewinder wasn't in Halo Reach, but Hemorrhage was. And so you could transport your allies from one side of the map to the other. I would love to see that in Halo 6, and I hope they can find a way to not just bring it in, but balance it out so that it works for everybody. So great question, my friend, and thank you so much for stopping by. Our next question comes from Winters. Always good to see you here, man. And Winters asks, hey, Mythic Tyrant, this is my question for the Q&A. When Halo 6 and future titles come out, would you like to see a game mode where you could have a type of Starfighter assault mode like Battlefront 2, where you can either play as different factions such as the UNSC, Covenant, or Forerunners? I recently played and enjoyed the Long Night of Solace mission from Reach, and thought it would be a good question and potential game mode of Halo 6 and future titles to do as well. Yeah, I think that'd be fantastic. People have wanted something like that since Combat Evolved. Reach was really the first time we saw that type of mode implemented at all, and of course it was only in campaign. And I think it'd be really cool on top of being able to customize your armor, if you could customize your ship. And can you imagine that? And as you level up, or you're able to spend credits on customizable pieces, you can just further deck out your ship and make it look really cool. Yeah, I think that would look awesome, and I want you guys to let me know in the comments below what you think of that and how you would do it. I'd love to hear your thoughts and opinions. Our next question comes from CFunk99, and CFunk asks, Q&A, hey Tyrant, I was wondering if you will someday do a walkthrough for the Noble difficulty for Halo SPV 3, and maybe legendary walkthroughs for SPV 1, Lemuria, and other Halo Custom Edition campaigns. I know you remember I tried doing one myself a while ago, but I realized that it can be too time consuming, so maybe you should do one yourself so that way I can be free to focus more on my other skills. Just one question for you. Are you paying me by the hour to do this? I'm only kidding. To answer your question, I don't have any plans to. Now, before I go too far into this, you guys know that I think very highly of Halo SPV 3. I think very highly of the development team behind it, especially Masters Elite. They did an excellent job, and I love the game. However, when it comes to doing walkthroughs for off-the-beaten-path type games like, you know, Halo SPV 3, which is a mod, I don't typically focus on that for a couple of reasons. One, I don't think I'm going to get much of an audience for it. You know, I know my SPV3 videos have done well in the past, but that was also primarily before the game was released, so people got a chance to see it. Other than that, it doesn't seem like something that would benefit a lot of people. The game's been out for a while. I do have some more plans for SPV3, but I don't really have a walkthrough in mind for now. That's not to say that I won't do one. If the demand is high enough, it's something I'll certainly consider. If I don't have any real plans in the works, then that's something that I can consider as well. I do as of right now, though. So if it gets to a point where, again, we're in sort of kind of a lull with Halo stuff, then that's certainly something I could explore, but I'd also like to see some support from people if they want to see me do it. Basically, it sort of harkens back to when I was talking about doing Halo 2 Mythic difficulty. So if I got the support for it and the time, it's something I would consider, but it's not something I'm planning on right now. But it's still a great question, CFunk99, and it's always good to see you here, my friend. And our final question of the week, our star question, comes from Haycone. And Haycone asks, Q&A, this may have been asked before, not sure, quite new to the channel. Which difficulty do you think is the closest to the lore? From what I've heard so far, the answer could be different for each game separately, but I am really curious as to what you think. Keep up the good work. Well, first of all, thank you, and second of all, welcome to the site, my friend. Good to have you here. I hope you're having fun. Hope you found yourself at home here. Great to have you on board. To answer your question, now I know a lot of you are probably, screaming this answer in your head, and you're saying heroic. And the reason you're saying that is because in an interview that Bungie had prior to Halo 3, that's exactly what they said. They said that in order to get the most experience from the game, to play it closest to the lore would be heroic difficulty. Now, I'm no one to argue with the developers on that one. Obviously, they know what they're talking about. They're the ones who developed the game. That said, they didn't make that statement about prior Halo titles. This was in regards to Halo 3 and then later ODST and Reach. To that degree, I do believe that, yes, heroic would be the lore standard for Halo 3, ODST, and Reach. Now, for the other games, it's a little bit different. Let's travel back to Halo Combat Evolved for a second. This might sound a little bit odd, but to me, Legendary on Halo Combat Evolved is the lore setting. The reason I say that is because for me, and maybe you guys feel differently, but for me, the Legendary setting for Combat Evolved was by far the most balanced Legendary of any other Halo game. It was beautifully done. I was recently watching the Actman on his second channel do a run-through of Halo Combat Evolved. And he was able to do it, no real problem. He wasn't using any like standard tactics from a walkthrough or anything. Basically, he knew the game well enough that he could improvise on the spot with the tools and weapons that were available to him. And I thought he did a great job. And the fact that he could do that is a testament to how balanced and well made the game really is. So for me in particular, it is brutal. It's very difficult, but it's fair and balanced. And that's why I love Halo Combat Evolved's Legendary mode. So for me, I would say for Combat Evolved, Legendary would be the main standard there. Now for Halo 2, it's a very different story. As most people will tell you, Halo 2's Legendary is Dark Souls grade brutal. In fact, in an interview, Bungie stated that the reason why that is because in Halo 2, the enemies cheat. And it's not just the Jackal snipers, it's also the elites, it's the Flood, it's a lot of stuff there. And it's just brutally difficult. In fact, to me, the ideal Legendary experience for Halo 2 is playing on Heroic with a Mythic Skull activated. To me, that's the most balanced Legendary experience that you could actually get from Halo 2. So if that's the case, then I guess that would mean that in this particular scenario, Normal would be the closest to lore in Halo 2. And even on Normal, Halo 2 can still give you some trouble. I mean, it's not, mind-numbingly painful or anything like that, but you can still get yourselves into a pickle with Halo 2 even on normal difficulty. It's still tough, but it's not invincible, as Sergeant Johnson would say. Going into the 343 games, I feel like Halo 4 followed in the footsteps of its predecessors pretty well, and Heroic is still the difficulty that would be closest to the lore. Halo 5, though, is a bit different, and it really depends on who you ask. I've heard people before say that Legendary in Halo 5 is the easiest one they've ever played, but they usually attribute it to the fact that you have a squad in Halo 5. Think of it as, and what typically gets left out of this conversation is, first of all, the squad in Halo 5 is not that bright. You saw that with Battleless and Ion, constantly jumping off of platforms, running into doors, getting in your way. They're just not that bright. They do help you, absolutely, but they're not reliable either, and sometimes they can actually make things even more complicated for you. And not to mention, on the other side of that, they balanced out the enemies in reference to the fact that you have 3 allies that are always with you. We've never seen this many enemies in Halo before. There are a ton of them in every battle scenario in Halo 5. On top of that, they can shoot you from much greater distances. They can also grenade you from much greater distances, and a lot of their weapons have tracking mechanisms so that they can actually follow you as you're moving around. Because of those things, I actually found Halo 5 to be quite difficult. Yes, you do have the benefit of having your allies and the ability to, send them to this location or that, or pick up this location, or pick up this weapon, or attack this enemy. But the enemies do balance it out in that way. So for me, this is going to sound really weird, but even Normal was kind of a challenge my first time through. With Combat Evolved and Halo 2, each of those games took me about a month to beat on Legendary. Actually, I think Halo 2 took me about 2 months. Halo 3, it took me about 3 days of casual play. After that, my standard was actually get going on Legendary first and just skipping right past all the other difficulties. So that's all I ever played ODST and Reach on, at least from the beginning. And they were both very balanced games, and 4 was the same way. 5, I had to take it down a notch. And part of it's because the gameplay in Halo 5 is vastly different from something we've seen in Halo before, and it's the most different thing we've seen in quite a long time. But it's almost a grind fest to the point where I've heard some people describe it as a shooting gallery because there's so many enemies, and you basically have to shoot from across the map to get them because of their range and their accuracy. So, I mean, you can make an argument that Legendary is the lower standard if you found Halo 5 to be easy. You can make the argument that it's heroic. And there's even an argument there that normal is the lower standard for Halo 5. It really just depends on how you found the game personally to you. Was it difficult? Was it easy? Did the mechanics make it easier for you? If it was easier, what is your personal opinion on it? What was your personal take on Halo 5? How long did it take you to get through Legendary mode solo? And I'm very curious to hear what you guys think about this. When it comes to Halo games, do you believe, in terms of a lore standard, is it the same across the board? Do you believe heroic is the standard for every Halo game? Do you believe that it's different for different Halo games? And I really would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. You can let me know in the comments below, or feel free to hit me up on Twitter at Mythic Tyrant. A link to my Twitter feed can be found in the description below. And I want to take the time to thank each and every one of you for taking the time out of your busy weekend to sit down with me and watch my Q&A. Thank you so much for participating in it. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did enjoy this video, I hope you'll consider subscribing for more great content right here on MythicTyrant.com. Thank you guys and gals so much for watching. I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I'll catch you all right back here next time, and as always, I'm the Tyrant, signing off.